Hey guys, it's Frederik. This is Pop Music Talk, and as I've said before in my previous video, I want to share another playlist with you that I have created. It is called What's August Waiting For? And obviously, you might think that this is like a monthly list, and which it is, by the way. But there's always, I tried to make an interesting name for this, for every list that I make. And recently I started making them all based on uh, all the supposed girlfriends I should have had. And there's a reason for that, but I'm not gonna share that right now. But I just like that concept of these are all the playlists that I have made about all the supposed girlfriends that I should have had at this point in my life. So let's head in head first, and I'll tell you about the songs that are on this list. So, by the way, What's August Waiting For is in all caps. And we'll start this list with one of the new songs of Renee Rapp, and it's called Why Is She Still Here? And this is for her upcoming new album in 10 days. And it's a pretty good song, and I'll. So, little extra thing to know is that I will especially tell some more about the people that I do know a bit more about and less about those that I don't know all that much about. So, makes perfectly to make it perfectly make sense, of course. All right, here we go with the next one, and this is called Easy Goodbye from the artist named Flume. I believe Flume is an Australian artist, DJ. His real name is Harley Edward Strayton. And so, Flume has made songs in the past that I've listened to. For instance, he is known for the songs. Yeah, so he has some past songs that I do know about. I'm gonna look it up for a moment to be certain about it. Oh yeah, there's a song called "Say It" from 2016 that he made along with a singer with Tovlo. Yes, you probably have to say that name differently, but I'm saying Tovlo. Anyway, and he's got a lot more other songs that you might know. And looking for a moment. Okay. Anyway, so next song on the list is from the new album that the Jonas Brothers are probably working on. It's called I Can Lose. Yes. So they have made a new album and it's going to come out in some time in 17 days, and it's called Greetings from Your Hometown. So my best guess, as far as I know, the Jonas Brothers, which would be a long time because they have been around for a long time, for the past, let's go with 20 years, something like that. Especially because they have uh, reunited. a couple of years ago, thanks to James Gordon at the time, and they announced back during the Late Late Show that they're gonna be reunited, of course, and uh, they've made a, I think this is their third album since they have reunited, and there's a song of theirs in the past from one of the previous albums that I really like. It's called Believe. I wanted to share that for a moment because I really like that song. And so this is the song I Can Lose. I'll play it for you for just a moment. Okay, so we heard the song title in the song. That seems quite enough for a little bit of the music itself. Okay, let's move on to the next song. There's another band that's making an album that has been around for quite a long time. It's Maroon 5. They're going to have a new album called Love Is Like, which is going to come out in 24 days. And they have their new song called California, which is also, I'd even say, a little similar to the new content, the new music from the Jonas Brothers. And it's very summer coded. You really get like the feeling of spending time with your friends out in the sun in the summer. And of course, it is summer, of course, so that makes sense. And I'm gonna skip ahead to the next song. And this, if you play it right, if you feel it right, could be a real tearjerker because it is called, quite literally, Tear Me Down, which is a song from the artist Joyner Lucas and another well known hitmaker, Ava Max. And Joyner and Ava have made the song Tear Me Down. I'll play you a little of this. So that's an interesting one. It's got Bob Allures, and I think it's gonna be a Bob. I haven't seen it on any hit lists yet. I haven't really spent time. I don't really spend time also to check the hit lists to see how well this song is doing. But I personally like it, and that's why I'm talking about it, of course. And so I have heard a song from Joyner a couple of years ago. So this is new music from him, alongside with this collaboration with Ava Max, of course, who is very well known for her hit songs. And she kind of gets put in a B or C class when it comes to pop songs because you have so many pop singers, especially the female singers, because there seems to be like many tiers and layers upon where people sit. But the truth is, she's been at it for quite a while. He him too. And so, because of what it's about and about the song and the sound, I feel like this could be a hit. And so, I already like it because of the content. It's very much about how do you deal with going forward when you've been through something that has really, quite literally, tore you down. Okay, so that's about that song. And the next one is another person that has made a new album. I'm talking about Fletcher now. I've listened to this new album already. It's called Would You Still Love Me If You Really Knew Me? And this is a new album from her, about a year since her last album, In Search of the Antidote, and which I also liked, too, which was way more, I'm gonna say, racy and freaky. And this one is a bit more sad. And so this new song, the single, is called Hi, Everyone, Leave, Please. And I'll play you another bit of it. And listen well to the lyrics, by the way. Here it starts. Okay, so that clearly sounds like something happened. And so this is the second or the third single from this album. I'm gonna briefly look this up for a second. And like I said, I've listened to this album already. It is a fantastic album. And obviously, um, just a second. You know, also something interesting here is that these pop girls, the pop singers, they're all very interestingly not too uh, far from each other in age. For instance, Fletcher is from '94. I was just talking about Ava Max, who is not that much younger. Was also from '94. There we go. With a difference in about a month. So, just a second, I was looking for. It's not completely out yet. Yeah. Um, I want to point out for a moment, though, that Fletcher is kind of known for making more racy music. Of course, because she has been in relationships with men and women, and where she sits on the spectrum when it comes to gender. That's up to her. I'm not gonna opinionate on about that, but that's just for her. And so, but I wanted to point out here that she, like I told, like I said about Ava Max, is kind of on along that tier, along those tiers when it comes to the pop artists, the female artists especially. But when you hear a song like this, "Hi Everyone Leave Please," you clearly hear that she is up there because she is extremely good at the lyricism, with the emotion, and with the sound in the background. So it clearly blends well together. And so that is what you get with a song like this, which is, to my taste, a pearl. Okay, let's continue with the list of the list. So, like I said, many people returning to make new music, and that includes this next artist as well. I'm talking about Lauv, who has made quite a bit of music the past, how long he has been around. And I've listened to a lot of songs of him, and he. So I said about Fletcher that she's very good at the lyricism. Lauv does something interesting too, where he like talks and sings about specific kind of emotions, like or situations that you get into. For instance, and I know this is not about this song that I'm talking about now, Combust, but there is a song of his with a number as a title. I'm looking it up here. Give me a second. There's a song of his called 26, which is a semi autobiographical song. And he begins this song with the verse, "Can I tell you a story about a boy who broke his own heart and he always blamed everybody else? But the truth is that he did it to himself, made a couple of songs and they got big, and thought that he could do whatever he wanted, but it all left with a hole in his heart." So I understand that many people many people say that there are double standards when it comes to men and women in the music industry. But I feel like here we see a little bit of an inverse with that, especially when it comes to talking about emotions. Like, it is pretty clear that women in pop, especially the pop princes, are extremely good at talking about their feelings and their situations and their relationships. Some are extremely well known for that. I'm looking at you right now, Taylor Swift. And but Lauv does this interesting thing where he mixes what he likes in songs and sound with his own feelings and make it semi autobiographical, where he talks also about his life and puts it into song. And I really like that from him. And he shows the inverse basically of the double standard. So that is with the song Combust that he put out recently. Like I said, many people making new songs, of course. Another person in this list, and that is the next song, is King Princess, who had a massive song years ago with the another a number named song. Gonna look it up for a moment. 1950, which was a massive song years ago. She's also ventured into acting. And by the way, I want to point out for a moment that I do know that some of these artists don't necessarily recognize themselves as a woman or a man. They might also be something else. And if I'm misusing pronouns, I am sorry. I will try to do better. So uh, let's keep it going with this list. So King Princess has this new song called Cry, Cry, Cry. And you should hear it because it's pretty good. Then um, there's some people in the industry that like to highlight new talent. And somebody that I've known doing that, not personally, no, of course, because I'm not in the music industry, but I do love talking about it. And that person is Timbaland. And he, for many, many years, has done this. And he's done it again, now with an artist named Genya, with a song called Toasty, that's with three Y's at the end. And another person who seems to do this also from years ago with major hits in the aughts is will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas originally, who's also made songs separately with other people. I think about a song that I personally like from years ago, Power with Justin Bieber, who I will also talk about because I really want to do that album, uh, Swag. I really want to talk about that one. But so back to will.i.am. He has made a new song with an artist named Taboo, and it's called East LA or East Los Angeles as it is sung in the song. And I like it. It's very um, almost folksy, but in a more hip hop, R&B, and almost jazzy like way as well. But you know what? Let's put it on. Let's see what that gives you. That's obviously will.i.am at the beginning. Let's go a bit further and a bit further. So obviously, this is a song about someone's hometown and a specific area. Because I personally haven't been to Los Angeles yet, but I do know that it's a huge city in California, and so many people are from different parts of it. And of course, this person, Taboo, the artist, made a song with will.i.am about it. So that is very cool to be singing about your hometown. Many people do that, of course, and so that I find that really cool. Okay, this next artist I found on TikTok a good while back, Sam Short, who made a new song called Needle and Thread, as in sewing, sewing. Okay, I'll go further. We're gonna go a bit faster on this list, although there's not that many songs in this list just yet. But of course, I want to make some time. So here we go with the next song, and it is called Broken by John Kay. And he's an interesting artist as well, because like Love, he has this way of putting his own experiences in song and have it make an impact on you. And so John Kay, I know him from years ago with a song called "If We Never Met," which was a collaboration with Kelsey Ballerini. And their combination of the two of them is interesting because you have very light, uh, lo-fi vibes music in the background while they sing off of each other, almost like they're trying to do a rap battle about emotional stakes, but in a more melodic way, not by rapping. And that's from years ago. So he has made this new song called Broken. It's from a new album that he's making, has made, and is out in since a few days. So you can go listen to that where you listen to your music. uh, the next artist I want to point out with their song, I want to point out something important here. So I talk a lot about international artists and especially American artists, but of course I also love the place where I come from, and so I'm from Belgium, and in the past couple of years, pop music has really exploded in Belgium, and so there are a couple of artists that really do our country a huge favor by making incredible songs, and one of those artists that I'm very proud of that I know about is Oscar and the Wolf, which is a band from Belgium, and they made a song with a rapper, Romeo Elvis, and that name might not say a lot to you if you're watching this from outside of Europe, but Romeo Elvis, and I'll look this up just to be sure. No, I am completely right. Oh, also interestingly, he is from the same year as I am. So Romeo Elvis is a rapper from here in Belgium, and he is the brother of another famous singer here, Angèle. And so the both of them are incredible artists. You might know Angèle a bit better because she did a song with Dua Lipa a couple of years back, and she's really breaking through also in the French-speaking countries across the globe, especially in France itself. She's a huge artist, and now the funny thing I noticed with Romeo Elvis is that he's exactly 3 months younger than I am. So my birthday is on September 13th, which is not that far from now, and his is on the 13th of December. So I'm a bit older than he is. And well, since I'm talking a little about myself and when my birthday is, that also means that another person I talked about a moment ago, in fact, the Jonas Brothers and Nick is the second youngest of the family. He's also just a couple of days younger, which is funny because if you look at certain standards and status, he is viewed as a much bigger famous person as I, of course, but he happens to be a little younger. So, anyway, enough about me. Let's continue with the list. And that next song, and once again, I have to point out, or rather, I want to point out another Belgian artist in this list. And actually, funny enough, this next artist collaborated with two other people on this song called Pum Pum, and it's a very much a DJ song, but there's a famous name that sings on it called Loreen. So it's David Guetta along with Loreen and Dimitri Vegas, who is of Greek descent but has lived in Belgium long, and also interestingly happens, I don't know if it's still the case, but he used to live in the same town as I do. And so the three of them have made a song called Pum Pum, which is very much a DJ song. And I'm gonna have to point out another Belgian artist with this next one called Judith. She won a award a couple of years ago in 2022, and she's a singer-songwriter from the lower the Low Countries, as the area of the Netherlands and Belgium is called. She won a radio contest, and she produced a debut single called "Me and My Big Mouth," and she has the usual known pop princesses as her big idols. And so she has made a couple of songs at this point, and that includes a new song that is on this list, and it is called April. Okay, let's move on to the next song. So, something I've also noticed in the past couple of years is that some people have broken through on their own or with a band, or some people that have been in a band that are now a solo artist. For instance, one of the other people I've seen this do that is not in this list, but I'll mention it here because it's relevant, is Perry Edwards, who used to be part of another band. He used to be part of the group Little Mix, which I've mentioned before in a different video. And if I'm not mistaken, Little Mix also had this next artist that has now popped up as a new artist. Yes, I'm talking about Lee Ann Pinnock. And she has a song of her own now, a new song. Because I'm gonna look this up just to be sure. No, it's just a single for now called Been a Minute. And that's a song of her that is out right now. Okay, I'm gonna go a bit faster for a moment with this next song called Fever by artists Alog and Agents of Time. Never heard of Agents of Time. That's okay. And this next artist is Alessi Rose with a new song called Everything Anything that is from her latest album called Voyeur, which is an EP, by the way. And so this new EP of Alessi Rose is not yet out. It will be in 3 days. And I've heard a couple of other songs of hers, including Same Mouth and That Could Be Me, and this new song, Everything Anything. I'm catching up here. Okay. Then you might have noticed at this point that I do like quite a bit of DJs. There's a couple of DJs that are a bit lesser known, but they're very good in their own rights. And that includes Jonas Blue, who has a new song with another artist called Meliv, and it's the song called Edge of Desire. I'm gonna go to the next song now. Um, Before I do, I'm gonna point out for a moment that when I'm making my lists on Spotify, there's 3 lists I check out. It's the new Friday list, New Week Friday, I believe it's just called. Gonna check it out for just a moment if I'm right. New Music Friday. That's the name. So, and in my case, that's the first one I look for because that's especially the most of them are the American artists and also the international artists from Canada and Australia and the UK. And then I also check out the New Music Friday for Belgium as well, because you get artists from other countries too if you look for them, and if especially if they are suggested to you, which I have talked about in a moment, because I do love listening to the pop artists that my country produces. And another list that I also check out is Young and Free, which is usually Gen Z Gen Z artists that are getting through everything, meaning they're breaking through with their new songs. And so these next few are from that list. That includes Saga Faye, the artist, with a song called Dance King. That includes Michaela Geyer, that's Geier spelled, with a song called Piano in the Sky. Same thing for Max Smith, who I have heard some songs of, with the song Dive Bar Opera. That also includes Rule with I Can Die Now, and another artist called Ren Martinez, who has I'll rephrase, another artist named Ren Martinez with the song Take Touch. Um, I think I covered in my other video another song of hers called His Los Angeles Girl, which is a really good song. You know what? Let's listen to it together for a moment. Hmm. Okay, so you see what I mean. These folks from the Gen Z generation tend to really know their shit and are really good at it. And I really like this kind of sounds where you have synth and ethereal kind of sounds matched with um, emotionally laden biographical lyrics. And I love that kind of sounds. And Ren did that similarly with that other song I talked about, his Los Angeles Girl, which is in a more country vibe, of course, but this is also very good. Okay, let's go to the next song, which is also from that Young and Free list that I talked about. It's called Anybody from Haven, Madison. Same thing for Carol Ades, that is Ades spelled, with Good Swimmer. And let's listen to it together for a moment. Hmm. Okay, that sounds pretty good, right? And so one of the things that got me interested in this is just the title itself, Good Swimmer. And that is because I used to be a big time swimmer when I was younger. And another interesting thing I checked here is that one of the producers on this song is someone that I've heard a very good song about years and years ago called Drive Me Home. And it's Caroline Pennell, who years ago was uh, took part in one of the seasons of The Voice in America. And I get that because there's many different versions of The Voice depending on where you're from. And so I like that she is a producer on this track because clearly you can kind of hear her influence through this song, but it's but there's no but here. It's just a good song, and it's enticing because once again, it's that combination of a nice ethereal synth kind of sound along with emotional laden and auto autobiographical lyrics, which is a good combination, I find. Okay, let's continue with the next songs. Okay, so these next ones are all songs that I found on TikTok, and I don't know all that much about them yet, so I'm gonna go quickly over these ones. Starting with the song Tropicana Bar in all caps by the artist Nova May. The next one is Freestyle by the artist Leadley. That is Leadley. And then the next song is You Win I Miss You by Trinity Lake, followed by Lose It All from Isaac Matter. That is Mather. Another person. And the next song is Covering Faces from Carly Hansen. There's a band called Careless Vibes. It has a song called Something Real, which is the next song here. Then we have 10 p.m. from Zaz, which sounds interesting. Team 10 p.m. might be about late night. About a late night, I mean. Okay, the next song is Imprints from a couple of different artists. The main artist is Shadow, spelled a bit differently with the X instead of an A, along with two collaborators, Above without an E, and Run with a double N and in all caps. Then the next artist is an interesting one that I found on TikTok. It's the song called Spin the Bottle from a young man named Eli Patterson, who is another person I found on TikTok a good while back with a song. And what I found interesting about him is that he made the song on his own. And interestingly, we kind of look alike when I see him play on TikTok. But of course, he's much younger than I am. But it's of course impressive when someone younger gets to make a song that is not just biographical, but also very, very good. Okay. The next song is Getting Older by Josephine Riddell. That's with a double L at the end. Then a song called True Ish by an artist called Austin, which immediately sounds a bit Gracie Abrams like. And I find that very interesting already. Okay, next is Spilled Milk by Sarah Thompson. And that is then followed up by Messy by Jenna Davis. That's for in the that's a I find that to be a category of its own. When you find songs with the same name but are about different things. And actually, there was one thing that I saw last year when there were three separate songs that are already called Messy. And the ones I, of course, am talking about is the song from uh, Lola Young, of course, who has really broken through. And then also another artist that I found on TikTok called Ellie Sellard also had a song called Messy. And then there was a third artist. I'm gonna look it up for just a moment. So you get that song from Lola Young. You got Ellie Sellard with that song. And I don't usually sing, but it goes a little something like, we're problematic, we're so messy, but we clean up nice. That's a little bit of that song by Ellie Sellard. Yeah, look it up differently. Here we go. Oh yeah, there was also the F1 soundtrack Messy from Rose, and there's also one from Fifth Harmony and Kiara too, and also one by Daniel Bradbury. And there's also a Quavo and Takeoff song of the same name. So um, it's interesting when one word can mean so many different things to many different people. Of course, I haven't listened to all those songs, but it's of course important to point that out. At least I like to point that out that things can mean different things despite it being the same word. So that's that. And then we're on to the last song on this list, which is called Fret Level Orange by the artist Earth to Eve, which I added just a couple of hours ago. And of course, if a name like that, Fret Level Orange, well, there's only one person we can think of when it comes to that, right? So that's the list for now. That is what's August waiting for. That is my list. And you can go to Spotify if you want to hear all those songs that I just talked about, and you can follow me there. It's a list I made. I like using the code name DJ Watt on Spotify. So if you look for the name of the playlist or my personal name, then you can find me there. And you can listen to the songs on the list. So thank you for listening and watching. You can like this video if you like. You can also subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content. And I will see you in the next video.